Hello, and welcome once again to North Central Cinema. I'm your host, Joseph W. Smith III. Call me Joe, please. In our last session, we talked about the new movie Till, and I praised it, saying not only that it was a great film, it's the best film I've seen this year, but also that I think the lead actress, Danielle Deadwyler, gives maybe the best performance I've seen on screen by an actress. I also noted, borrowing from one fellow critic, that Till is remarkably free of the white savior stereotype. And I thought maybe we would do a little bit of a segment on that here. The white savior stereotype generally involves a film where the black character, an important, even major black character, cannot emerge from his suffering or oppression without the help of a white. And oftentimes these white savior films are written and directed by whites as well. Films that have been labeled with this: The Blind Side, The Help, and even To Kill a Mockingbird. Although I still like those three films a lot. I don't know if it's just because I'm a white person, but I still think that they're pretty good films. A couple of others that I would like to sort of defend, they fall into the classic white savior stereotype. The 2018 Oscar winner Green Book, in which a white chauffeur, played by Viggo Mortensen, serves as driver to a black concert pianist on a concert tour of the South during the Civil Rights era. And yes, Mortensen's Villalonga has to save the black man from a couple of sticky situations. But I do think that they both save each other. The white man has a lot to learn in that film too. So I still think Green Book is a fine film, and the black actor did win his second consecutive Best Supporting Actor Oscar for that, and the picture itself took Best Picture that year. Another one that I wanted to plug, a little bit less of the white savior here, but I wanted to plug it because probably very few of you have ever heard of it, is called The Best of Enemies, and it was done in 2019. It stars Sam Rockwell and Taraji P. Henson, and it also is a true story about a black mother in the South in the 70s. Her segregated school has a fire, and there's a concern that they're going to put the black students in a white school, and Rockwell plays the local head. He's the president of the local chapter of the Ku Klux Klan, and yet, because he has a disabled son and understands the difficulties of parenting, he begins to work together with this black woman. And in real life, they actually did become friends, and he actually became a sort of advocate for civil rights. So that's The Best of Enemies. If you like those two actors, that's a good one to look for. Two others that I think are a little bit better known, sort of classics at this point. One of my all-time favorite movies from 1967, In the Heat of the Night, starring Sidney Poitier. As a black homicide detective, he's stuck in this backwater town in Mississippi, and he stumbles into working on this homicide case. The film does have a major white character, the town's white sheriff, played by Rod Steiger. But in this film, Virgil Tibbs, the Poitier character, he saves himself. There's a key moment at the end where he thinks he's solved the problem. He thinks he's solved the murder. And the white sheriff says to him, "Where are you going?" And Tibbs says, "Where whitey ain't allowed," and troops off. And he solves the murder, and just as he's solving it, a whole bunch of local rednecks arrive. They're prepared to lynch him. They've been after him for days now. But because he has solved the crime, he manages to extricate himself from that situation. So In the Heat of the Night, a virtually perfect film. I don't want to go down a rabbit trail and talk about it for too long, although it's one of my favorites. Another one that also has both black and white main character, is The Defiant Ones from 1958. Again with Poitier, he is acting opposite Golden Age stalwart Tony Curtis, who plays a redneck. They are prisoners being transported in a truck, and the truck has a crash and they both escape. But they are handcuffed together, and they have to learn how to work together. They have no choice. And the nice thing about The Defiant Ones, which, by the way, was nominated for 9 Academy Awards, is that it reverses the white savior stereotype at the end. So there's a couple of classics, In the Heat of the Night and The Defiant Ones, if you want to look at those. Some surefire films that just plain old-fashioned avoid the white savior stereotype. 2018, Black Klansman from Spike Lee. This, again, is a true story, again set in the 70s, about a black man who sort of disguised himself as a white man and infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan. Now, he had to have a sort of white person avatar played by Adam Driver, so there is a white person who has to goes to the Klan meetings and so forth. But I would never want to accuse the writer-director Spike Lee of having made a film with a white savior stereotype. That is a great film. It got Lee his first competitive Oscar for screenwriting. Very good film starring John David Washington, Denzel's son, from just a few years ago. Another one from a little more recently, Just Mercy, another true story in which a black attorney is defending a black man who has been unjustly accused of a crime he did not commit. Both main characters are played by blacks. It's a true story. It's a triumphant story. It features also what I think is probably Tim Blake Nelson's best performance. He just knocks it out of the park as the prosecution's one key witness who clearly has been spoon-fed by the police. That film, when it was starting to get some attention in 2019 and 20, became so insanely relevant that the distributor streamed it for free across almost every platform you could name in the summer of 2020 when we were having so much racial difficulty in this country. So Just Mercy, very, very good film. A few others you might want to watch for. Fruitvale Station, also a true story from 2013. Selma, also a true story, Martin Luther King story from 2014. And the older rom-com Waiting to Exhale from 1995. So there's several if you want to avoid the white savior stereotype, and if it doesn't bother you too much, I named a few others earlier as well. And of course, we might want to include Black Panther, which is getting a lot of attention now because everyone is stampeding off to see the sequel that is now in theaters. One of the films I've just named, The Defiant Ones, is in my book on Under the Radar Movies, the best movies you never saw. If you'd like a signed copy of this, I will be doing a signing, a sort of holiday signing as Christmas is approaching, at Rosko's Brew House. That's downtown. It's kind of near Goodwill. It's a brand new brewery, and I'll be there from noon to 3 on December 3rd, selling this and my brand new book, collection of jokes and riddles. Stop in, have a beer, get your book signed, do a little early holiday shopping. You can also purchase these directly from me if you drop me a line or if you just want to talk about movies. My personal email is robwhitefan@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us for this latest installment of North Central Cinema, and I hope you'll join us again in the future.
At UPMC, we're pioneering new ways to treat cancer, and we're working to prevent it. We're advancing new technology to look more closely at disease and helping you breathe easier. We perform the world's first heart-liver transplant, and we're experts at keeping your heart beating strong. We're a global team of more than 90,000, advancing care everywhere and delivering it closer to you. UPMC, life-changing medicine.